hoping to see in the bottom in this corner, I'm hoping to see a bunch of aluminum.
I mean, I'm not, but...
Well, I mean, like, you know...
I mean, there's a couple pieces, like, stuck right there, you know?
It would make sense if there's something wrong, that there's going to be a bunch of aluminum in this corner. Man, it smells like fuel pretty good. That oil must have been in there a while. Nothing. I mean, nothing. There's a sliver.
There's a couple tiny pieces,
Yeah.
but they're tiny.
And there's only, like, I can see 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, like total.
That's a bug.
Yeah. How is that even possible? Where's one of our bigger pieces? There's one bigger. Oh, I thought. There's one. Whoops. There's 2. Come on now. Don't be a jerk. All right. Oil pump is off. Hold on. I didn't even roll it over. See what I mean?
Compression.
One more. Come on with it.
You didn't sound like it was a bad thing.
No, just don't let it take your fucking knuckle off.
I'm more scared about ripping off my front end. My bad. Just a little crooked.
Okay. Hang on. Oh, right there. That'll work. Is the center stud on that side sticking way up?
I noticed that on that side when I first took the valve cover off, and then I looked at it on this side, like, because I was like, why is that one way longer? But yeah, this one's longer too.
Okay, cool. This is my I was wrong song. Okay, took the oil pump apart. Come looking. Not enough. I mean, you know, there's some,
Maybe blowing it out.
you know,
There you go.
there's some light scarring in there, but nothing major. Light scarring there on this side, you know, but nothing major. This actually still looks perfect. This has a little bit on the wall here, some scratches and, you know, whatever. I mean, but nothing. And then gears, not enough to speak of. This gear has a little bit of the edges taken off of the, like you can see it's worse on some than others.
There's like a line through it, yeah.
Yeah, like if it's, like you can see the line there, you know, and on some of them it's thicker, and then there's a couple little scratches here and there, but honestly, this is, you know, that's what it's supposed to look like when it's like nicer, you know, it rarely has any line on it, but honestly, none of this, I mean, the type of aluminum shavings that this is going to put off is going to be like
Nothing.
sludge or slush. It wouldn't even probably catch in that filter. So,
Glitter.
yeah, glitter, yeah, bingo. So, you know, for
And at this point, you were like, I don't know, Jackie, we should just put it back together and we should put oil in it and let's start it and possibly take it to the track
yeah, this is what I,
and see how it runs and we'll check the filter.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going to get out the borescope
Yep.
because I'm a nitrous guy.
Yes, and we're.
I only got 5 cylinders in
What'd you
before
find
it
on the
died.
borescope? Nothing.
Nothing. I didn't get to look at all of them.
But while she was doing the borescope, I decided, okay, she's not going to give up. So
He said, let me do something else before she gets angry.
yes. I said, let me keep going because she's not going to quit. So I decided I'll pull the rockers off, which I love to do anyway. So I'll get the rockers put off, inspect all of those, and at least that way I can say, hey, look, everything's perfectly fine. Everything's perfectly fine. Went through the rockers. Everything does look good, except for there's a couple of them here that don't look. That one's a good one actually. But so this is what a good one is supposed to look like. The push rod sits up against that ball there. Don't know if you can see that. Right here, the push rod has a cup on it, and it sits against that. Push rod has a cup, and it sits in the rocker. And then, the lifter pushes the rocker up and down. So you have a surface in here, in the push rod, and you have a surface here, and they glide across each other.
Metal on metal.
Metal on metal. Well, hopefully with a thin film of oil. But eventually that wears out. So you can see this side looks okay. Shiny, smooth, looks good. This side,
Doesn't have a hole
not so
anymore.
much. Not so freaking much. Doesn't even have a hole in it. It's scraping it, so like you can hear it.
And then it doesn't have
And
oil
so it
anymore.
just basically just ground this to nothing and ground it across the hole. So there's not even a hole anymore. So now this rocker isn't even getting oil anymore because of that. This pucha rod, TCO pucha rod, it's no good. So if you can get it to focus down in there, I don't know. But it's, hear it? No smooth. No smooth. No good. No good. You can see? You can see? It's not good. My opinion is the push rod went bad. Scratch that all to hell. So after we found this, we went back because I was like, man, if that was the issue, you would have thought that it would have had more lash on that rocker. If it's scratching that much off that we're seeing it in the filter, then that's that much more clearance between the push rod and the rocker. And if there's that much more clearance between the push rod and rocker, then that's that less amount that the rocker is opening the valve, because you're making clearance between the push rod and the rocker. So now it's not opening the valve as much as it used to. So we figured, man, that'd be something you should be able to see in the data.
That's an intake valve. Also.
Intake valve too, yeah, which is weird. Went back, looked at the last 20 hits we've made on this car, and just since we went to the local track, Thunder Valley, here a few weeks ago, that's when cylinder number 4 EGT was higher at idle than the rest of them. Before that, all of them were good. Okay, so here's something I thought was kind of cool. I took like 7 passes the last few times she went out with the car, and just turned on RPM and EGTs. And this is all 8 EGTs. And normally on this engine, number 6 is normally the hottest. Of course it varies here and there, but for the most part, 5 and 6 are probably our hottest. But if you look here, they're all together at idle. And then they go out here and they do their normal thing. And number 4 is in the middle of the pack here. So then if you turn on, let me turn that brightness down just a little. Maybe too much. Okay. And then if you turn on the next run, same thing, all of them are good. 6 is, you know, up here in the our hottest cylinder here through the middle, but 4's, you know, in the middle there somewhere. Then the next pass, now you start to see something. That's number 4. On the run, it doesn't seem like it's, you know, way out there or anything. Like they're all pretty good together on the run. But at idle, 4 is higher than the rest. Going on the brake, 4 was higher, but then kind of came in line, everything was fine. Then the next pass, still 4 is hotter at idle. And then on the pass, 4 is up near the top of the list there, but still 4 is hotter at idle. The next pass, 4 is even hotter at idle. So it's even breaking further away from the pack. And then now it's up here with 6. Like it's almost the same as 6. And then the next pass, even more separation. All the other cylinders are here, 4 is hot. On the pass, 4 and 6 are together. 4 is actually hotter at the end of the run on that pass. And then on the last pass she made, 4 is way hotter at idle. We're talking, all of them are 600-ish, and 4 is almost 800, 790. Then on the run, 4 is with 6, just as hot till halfway, and then it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So by the end of the run, it was all of them were 1200-ish, and 4 is 1325, so it was the hottest. And then during the shutdown, it was still like, it still stayed hotter than the rest of the pack, which tells me that the intake valve isn't opening as far, and that there's some sort of an issue like what we found with the push rod adjuster deal. So if you were just strictly tuning by on the pass, like I wasn't even looking at EGTs over here, and now I would have seen it, and I would have been like, something's wrong, we need to run the valves. But on the passes, I'm just looking at, I make quick notes in my notebook that says, you know, okay, we need to put a degree in this one, or take a degree out of this one, and, you know, whatever. And I make those individual cylinder tuning changes between passes. And I was, as you can see by the timing, if you go down here and look, but on the end of this run, I was pulling an extra 2 degrees out of 4, trying to figure out what was going on. And obviously that's just going to make it hotter. So pretty cool, something to think about and something to look at, and another reason to have EGTs on a car, even if you don't think they're necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it started off a little higher, and then every pass it got a little worse.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make that many. We only made 4 or 5 passes because it was 2 days of track testing that we didn't take it apart to check anything. We normally go over this stuff anyway, but
well, and we were focused on the transmission.
Yes.
And
the engine seemed fine. So luckily though, that filter is so damn good that
It caught all of it, really.
yeah, there's no metal in the oil. There was no metal in the head. There's no metal in the, you know, right under this rocker, right under this, no metal, which is great. So it was all in the filter and everything else looks fine. This happens to my car about every, well, when I'm running big boost, when I'm running 60 pounds or whatever. Mine doesn't have the best setup, but this happens to my car every, you know, 30, 40 passes. It'll get a push rod here and there. Especially if I'm running the lash real tight.
Well, just something like that is completely different than breaking a push rod in half.
Oh yeah,
You know?
no, this is to me this is race car maintenance. That's why we have spare push rods. Whenever I call Smith Brothers and I order push rods for my deal, I get 8 spare
At least.
every time.
If we go anywhere with your car, we take
We'll
24.
Yeah, because you never know. You just never know with push rods. Push rods are part of it. You know, that's a race car thing. When you got that much spring pressure and that much RPM, and we do like our RPMs. Aluminum rockers, they move around a little more than my T&D rockers, but no big deal. You know, I'm not saying
Whatever.
mine are
We
better.
cannot be rich, fancy guys like you.
Anybody can call Sheldon at T&D and get a set of the ones I got.
I said rich. I didn't say they don't sell to poor folks. I said I don't have the money for them.
So, yeah, luckily, that's all it is. And that makes me happy. I thought it was aluminum.
He was trying to convince me to just put it together because he wanted a worse problem to find, because Justin always has to find the cause.
Yeah.
And if you don't obviously see it, you're like, put it back together, we're going to make a hit right now.
Yeah, put it back together.
Blow
Let's
this
go.
puppy up.
Let's go make a problem.
No.
Yeah.
And
But
that's why I was like, I'll get the borescope. I don't care.
luckily, though, there's your smoking gun. It's easy as that. And when we were doing the looking at the shavings or looking for shavings in the deal, I was using a magnet, and for a second, it almost looked magnetic, and I was like, turns out it was, but it was just too small for the magnet to really pick it up because it was such a thin sliver. But I was like, that's weird. It almost looked magnetic, but yeah, it was just too small of a glittery sliver to pick it up. But so there you go. I thought it was aluminum. I thought it was the oil filter or the oil pump. My apologies to Peterson. Your oil pump is very durable.
We'll maintenance it a little better
And beefy.
next time.
I should have one of these somewhere in one of those boxes somewhere. I don't run these rockers, but I know people who do.
Me.
So we'll put a new adjuster cup deal in the rocker arm. We'll shove a new push tube in it and put it back together and put some new oil in it. Go do some rev limiter burnouts. Now, if you don't mind, I've got lockup shit to do over here.
But yesterday when you were annoyed at your car, you were like, what's going on with yours? And I was like, nothing's wrong. And you were like, yes it is, tell me. And I was like, no, just finish your project.
Yeah. I do like to solve a problem. Sometimes I like to take a break from my own problems and solve other people's problems.
These are also your problems.
Then I come back and
But now you're going to go do some of your problems, and then we'll come back to these problems. And
it's the circle of life with race cars. That's all. I'm going back to working on my twin turbo deal. You can figure this
I'm sure you have 8 push rods to replace on that deal, so
I ain't had to put push rods in a long time.
like 4 weeks.
At least. I ain't been running any boost. I should probably check them though. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
You're jinxing yourself.
Yep. All right then.